I just loved the process that we led our clients through today on today's coaching call. And the reason why I loved it so much is because one of the biggest ways that we help our clients when they come to us is they don't quite know what they do. They don't know the deep transformation that they take people through. They know what subjects they teach. They know maybe what marketing category they're in, but they don't know the deep transformation that they take people to. And that's exactly what we help them do. And this simple process that we developed is one of the ways that we help them really distill the transformation that they take their clients through.
And this is so important because I mean, you run the coaching team, so you know from doing the work, like hands-on in tickets and stuff. This this clarity of like, but what do I really do? I understand what industry I'm in. I have a sense of who my ideal client is, but really, what is the work? Like, what do I give my life's energy to? Right. And without answering this question fairly early in our process, I find that a lot of our clients panic. Don't you find
Yes,
that? Where they're like,
absolutely.
oh no, is this like another course? Like, because by the time people come to us, they've usually spent like 30 grand, 40 grand, 70 grand. I mean, we've had clients spend over 100 grand trying to answer this one question, and then going through the mill and feeling more and more and more depressed and dejected because they can't fucking figure it out. So
Yeah.
by the time
Yeah.
they hit us, there's a lot of panic around it.
No, totally. And it becomes this issue a lot of times of, is it enough? And then it gets attached to the high ticket piece, right? Because our clients come to us to help them develop a high ticket program. So it's this whole, is what I do enough? How do I do it? What exactly do I do? And this is exactly what we help our clients get crystal clear on. And it makes sense, right? Like you want everyone who comes to
Totally.
us wants to really deliver the transformation that they're here to deliver. So I love this
Absolutely.
process.
I love it too. And it is important to have this clarity, because if you design a program without first figuring out what you're genuinely here to do, you're going to end up with a bunch of random exercises that are cute, that look good on paper, that sound good, but that don't actually deliver. And then that erodes your confidence. So I would love to share
Mhm.
just some of the questions. Like, there's 5 questions that we
Yep.
take our clients through. And obviously, when we do this on our Impact with Influence calls, we're getting in there as coaches. Maria and I and Nicole and the others on our coaching team are getting in there and nuancing and pulling out pieces and using our intuition to be like, oh, you're saying this, but actually that's not the truth. Like, there's more up here. So there is more to the process when we do it on calls. However, I thought it would be really great if we could at
Mhm.
least share the questions and you guys could get a running start. How does that sound?
Mhm. Yeah,
Get
no,
your
I love this.
pencils.
Yes, go get 'em. Go get pencils. Exactly. Exactly. Okay. So we're gonna run through these questions really
Yeah.
quickly just so you have them. And like you just said, we normally nuance these, but this will be enough just to get you started. Okay. So the first question is, what part of your process of the work that you do, what part of the process excites you the most?
Right. So you want to be thinking about what are the exercises that you do. So what I'm not wanting necessarily as an answer to this question is, and then they feel free and they're completely transformed. We're looking for the on the way to there. So what do you wake up in the morning and do? What parts of the process are you like, I cannot wait to get out of bed and do this thing? Like, for me, group calls, oh yes, like that is absolutely a part of the process that I freaking adore. Doing these lives is a part of the process that I absolutely adore. So what are the pieces, the activities in your program or in your job that leads to the delivery of your program that you're excited for? That's the first question.
Exactly. Yes. So that's first question. Now, question two is, what part of the process do you fear the most?
This is a juicy one, because this brings
Juicy
up
one.
all the imposter syndrome. I know we love it. This brings up all your imposter syndrome. This brings up typically what we notice with clients is that they're often afraid of the magic.
Mhm.
Our clients are often they're all magicians, and they respect the magic because they know how powerful it is, and it makes them afraid. And the reason they're afraid is that they're not sure they can control it. They're not
Yeah.
sure that the magic will come when it's called. They're not sure that the magic will do what it's supposed to do and not some other random thing that might cause harm. So there's a lot of those, and you want to be aware of what's going on. And we have processes to work with that awareness once the awareness is surfaced. But if you aren't even aware, you're either going to avoid the thing completely, in which case you're basically creating your program without your magic in it, which is what a lot of clients do before they come to us. Or you're like, what ends up happening is the magic is there, or technically it's there on paper, but you hesitate to talk about it in your messaging, and then you just never know what the hell to say, etc., etc. So this will help you become aware of what is holding you back. What are the brakes on the operation?
Right. Exactly.
Question
Exactly.
3.
Yes. So question 3 is, what part of the process do you have control over? What do you feel solid? What do you know you feel I have the right to teach this? I know this part really, really well.
Yeah. So this is the parts that, and when I say control over, yes, it's like, oh, you get to show up and you get to go deeper. So it's those answers too, right? So for the way that I would answer this question is, what are the parts that I have control over? My ability to be with somebody when they show up in resistance, when they show up scared, when they show up. We literally had someone on our call today where I was sharing what I saw as her gift. And I was like, here's what I see. And I could tell that she agreed, right? She was just like, yes. And then every time she would receive what I was saying, she'd say, no, I agree with you. And it was a little subconscious tell. She kept saying no, even though I could tell that consciously she agreed with me. And here's what we realized with her was that her subconscious tell said, in order for me to feel in control of this work, I need it to come from me. I need it to come out of my mouth. I need to know that when somebody asks me this question, I can say the answer that I know and it will land, and not Geeta gave me the answer or somebody else gave me the answer. So we had to help her connect with that part, and we had to help her process that energy so then she could actually receive the rest of it. And what's interesting is that obviously her clients have a version of that exact energy that they bring to their work, right? Which is a totally different context. And so, yeah, just being aware of these energies. So you want to be clear about what is the process that you control. So for me, it's my curiosity, my willingness to be in discomfort, my willingness to be without judgment in somebody else's resistance, to be like, okay, what's here? Let's look at it together and let's see what's there. And I don't have any answers. There's no script. I have no clue what the hell's going to come out, but I have that ability, and that's something I can control. If I bring that to the table, I start to feel really confident in the process.
Yes, exactly. So for you, what part of the process do you have control over? So question 4 is, what part of the process are you building control over? So this would be the part where you might be tempted to say, oh, I have no control over this. But really, to frame it in the words of, what are you building control over?
Exactly. And the nuance that I would have you lean into here is, look for things that bring you joy, that you're wanting to develop, as opposed to things that you feel like you should develop. Right? So this is a really important piece because, for example, I have historically struggled with consistency of messaging. And originally, the cause of that inconsistency, and you know what's interesting is the same symptom will show up with a whole bunch of different causes. So originally, it was like lack of clarity. So I fixed that. I got my clarity. I know exactly what I was doing, although that's obviously a moving target because the work evolves. But then now that I have clarity and I have permission to talk about it, I still have this, like, I can't produce the same way every single day. I just can't do it. So I've come to realize that what I am building control over is the process. And instead of trying to white knuckle it or develop the discipline or any of these other things, I'm going to be like, I'm going to work with my energy. And what I notice, the way my energy works is I work in these like fits of frenzied creation where I'm just like, raw, like I want to make all the videos. I want to write all the things. I want to just create art like I'm a crazy person, which I am. And then I want to just stop.
True story.
True story. Maria knows. Right? Like, it's true.
Love
and then
you
I just
anyway.
want to stop. And I want to like hide under the bed, and I want to just like lie around and read books. I want to receive art. I want to, be
Mm.
nourished by other people's art, and I want to be inspired. I don't want to be the one inspiring. So it's really interesting. So I could either shame myself and beat myself up and try to create a process where I show up the same way every single day, a la Tony Robbins, not
Mm.
dissing. It really works for him. And I'm like, that's
Yes.
amazing. If you're that guy, do that. If
Hmm.
it works for you and it brings you joy and it feels doable and effortless, then freaking do that. But if you're like me and your energy is very cyclical, which a lot of women have that because our
Hmm.
hormones are cyclical, our physiology is cyclical, then honor that. And what I would do is I would create in a frenzy and then have it dripped out. So there is the illusion of consistency, but I'm creating in a way that honors my energy. So this is something I'm building and designing
Yep.
for, so that again, so those that's just an example that we used for my job. So not in the context of coaching necessarily, but in the context of me being the founder and content creator in our work.
Right.
So that's step
Exactly.
4.
Exactly.
And
And
step
so
5,
then,
step 5 is my
okay,
favorite.
so step 5 is the juiciest one because after answering all those questions, it really helps to distill what we were really asking for in this last piece, which is what guidance comes to you? What is the next step that just comes to you? Not what do I need to do next? It's what is the guidance that comes? And it's really important to allow it to come and not to judge it.
And not to force it. And you'll
Yeah.
notice the question, we're very particular about language around EV. We're very particular because what we didn't say is like, what action do you need to take? That's typically what a coach would ask you in this context
Right.
is, what action do you need to take? And then you have to, what do you decide to do? And these are, the ego is the one that decides the action and the decision. The ego decides.
Mhm.
Intuition allows. So we're phrasing it to give you that like shift in perspective to be like, I'm not looking for what I need to do, I should do, I decide to do. We're
Mhm.
sort of like moving it over here to be like, what comes to me? And here's the thing, and this brings us to our story for today. We had a client who was sitting there and being like, freaking nothing is coming. We could see it, right, Maria? Like
Oh,
you were
yes.
like messaging me.
I was. I was really concerned that this client was gonna leave, and I'm like, "No, we really wanna help this person get here. This is so important for their part of the process." So I'm like, "Gita, we have to get there. We have to get there."
Totally. And we were nearing the end of our call too. So we were like, oh, time constraints might play a factor. So here's what happened. This client was struggling to answer number 5. So number 5 typically
Mhm.
is the answer that will come to you, especially if you allow it to come. First of all, it's not going to hurry just because you're in a rush.
Right.
So the more rushed you feel, the longer it's going to take. That's just how it is, right? So you want to
Mhm.
do your best to kind of empty out your energy and be like, I'm in a space where somebody would want to be with me. When someone's really needy and like wanting of you, do you feel like being around them? Not
Right.
usually, right?
No.
You want to be around the person who's like just like expansive and they're enjoying their own company. And so you're just like, I wonder what they're up to. And then you just want to kind of go over and be with them. So you
Yeah.
you want to try and put your energy in that space so that inspiration is drawn to you.
Mhm.
And right. And you also, what comes to you often is a symbol, a snippet of a song, an image,
Yep.
some kind of knowingness, like which, it's not words really. It's not a voice speaking to you. It's just like the sense of like, oh, I know what this is. I know what the answer is. So you will often have that, and it may not make logical sense the second it appears. So you might be like, I have a peacock. Like, what the frick? Like, what? And that's great because if you're asking what, you're asking the right question. And the rest
Mm.
of that question by the way, is, what does this mean to me? And it's not, what does this mean on the internet? What does this mean to somebody else? What
Yeah.
does this mean mythologically? It's, what does this mean to me? And the easiest way to get the answer to that is to write it out. You're literally writing out, or if you don't like to write, if you have a learning disability and you don't like to write, no big deal. Take your phone, use your voice recorder and talk. Just say it out loud, but don't think it. That's the only rule I have for this step is if you sit there and think it, it will go away like a dream. You dream it, 10 minutes after you wake up, it's gone. If you don't document it, it won't keep coming. You need to, it's like you're pulling a rope. So you have to like pull and pull and pull and pull. The first 2 handfuls may not be all of what you need. But if you
Yeah.
keep pulling it, the, all of what you need will emerge. So
Yeah.
yeah, write it.
Yeah.
What do you like to do, Maria, on this? Do you write it? Do you speak it? What do you do?
For me, it's writing or speaking because sometimes I'm not in the place to write and sometimes I need to move. So I will speak it. I'll sometimes even sing it. I'll like a pick a tune or something like that because for me, I'm actually one of those people that words actually do come to me. Not everybody is like that. In fact, probably not very many people are like that, but words do words and then physical sensations. And so that's basically the form of my guidance that comes to me. So moving around, letting it come out of my mouth tends to be really effective for me, but also writing as well. And I would say, in fact, this piece right here of learning to wait for the guidance. In fact, this particular client, they they were so sure it wasn't going to come, and then they said, and then it came, and it startled them. It came to them actually in an image, and it startled them. They're like, "Whoa, it did come!" And that's oftentimes how guidance can come. So, and if you are interested in learning how to develop this guidance, how to develop the being able to allow this guidance to come, that's exactly what we have Impact with Clarity for.
Yes. So if you're somebody, if all of this makes sense to you and you already know how to do this, then go do it. And if you're somebody who's like, well, that sounds great on paper and I want to know how to do this, but I don't know the mechanics of it. Like, what do I do in this moment when my body is panicking and I want to avoid this moment at all costs because I feel inadequate, right? If you're in that place, I mean, believe me, that's who we work with generally.
Yeah.
So what we did is we put together a program with some of the most powerful, best used foundational mindset tools that we use in Impact with Influence, and we've made them available for a ridiculously low sum of money in Impact with Clarity. And right now we're even offering that 70% off. So if you have $200 ish to spend, then this is the bestest possible investment that you can make,
Mhm.
because unlike just about 90% of coaching companies out there, we're not here to tell you what to do. We're not
Exactly.
here to fuel that story that you have inside already, that you're not good enough and that everybody else has the answer and everybody else around you is smarter than you. This is not what we're here to do. What my mission and our mission as a company is to connect you to your truth. And all the tools that we have in Impact with Clarity are about that, to get in touch with your intuition. Then once in a while, when you need tactical help, you can go and your intuition will guide you to the right person and you can, hire them to help you with specific pieces. But otherwise, you're just in an endless stream of possible coulds. And how the frick do you evaluate which of the coulds you should? Right? It's
Right.
really hard.
Yeah.
So I really needed this as a filter for myself. Like, I create everything that we created, Impact with Clarity and Impact with Intuition, Impact with Intuition, Impact with Influence. Impact with Intuition is coming next. So that was a
Right.
Freudian slip.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking.
It's coming. It's coming. My guidance told me. So it's coming. But in the meantime, everything that we've created in our program so far has been created as tools for either me personally or our team, because we're noticing that we're different people. We have different strengths and weaknesses, different ways of getting stuck. And these are tools that work reliably. And
Mhm.
that, I mean, just to know that you've got the goods, just to know how to trust yourself. Not just you, everybody knows that they want to trust themselves. Most people don't know
Mhm.
how to trust themselves. That's what Impact with Clarity is about, is
Mm.
how to trust yourself. And that is the work. Everything else is extra. Right, Maria?
That's so true, Geeta. That's so true. This was so much fun. I love how we get to go through this process that is really quite simple and how at the end it really does yield different guidance every time. Thank you so much.
Exactly. Thank you. And thanks for watching Inside Impact with Influence.